This is the prototype for the Franciscan Diamond. This is a noir trick-taking game for 2, 3, or 4 players, where you have a very limited deck. There are 18 cards that you're playing with that you can see here. There are 4 suits: the thief, the private detective, the femme fatale, and the police. And with those 4 suits, you can see that there's only 3 in the thief's deck, 4 in the private detectives, 5 in the femme fatale, and 6 in the police deck. You're going to take all those cards, shuffle them together. But before you hand those cards out, every player is going to get one of these 4 suits. That's going to be their secret identity. They're also going to get a reminder card. So in a 4-player game, you're going to hand out all of those. Obviously, in a 2 or 3-player game, you're going to hand out only a couple of those identities. But based on who they are, you're going to have some different objectives. I'm going to teach you the full game. There's also 2 other ways to play. There's a shorter deduction game, and then there's a hybrid game that comes in between the short game and the long game, where you can do deduction or you can play the trick-taking, depending on what you want to do. So I'm going to show you the full game with these 4 suits. You hand these suits out secretly, doing your best to keep them hidden the whole time. Of course, you can look at it and you would know what suit you are, but depending on what suit you are in the game, that's going to determine how you're going to score at the end of the game. And that's the part that's a little bit tricky, but what I want to point out is that every suit has a nemesis. You want to generally try to avoid your nemesis cards, but take the cards of your suit. So if I was the thief, again, there's only 3 of these, then I want to take thief cards, but I want to avoid the private detective, and that's shown down here in the lower right-hand corner. Same with the private detective. I want to take my cards, but not the femme fatale. Femme fatale wants to take her cards, but not the police. But the police, because it wraps back around to the left over here, the police has a nemesis of the thief shown in the lower right here. So we're going this direction and then coming back over to here as far as whose nemesis is who. In any case, you will shuffle those up, hand them out to everybody, and then they can take a look and put them underneath their reminder cards. These reminder cards are going to look a little bit different in the final version, but you can do that there just to make sure you know who you are. And every player has one. Again, we're setting up like we're playing a 4-player game here, so something like this. And then we are going to have a very easy draft each round. So with that draft, we're going to shuffle up our cards. Depending on the number of players, we're going to hand out cards. In a 4-player game, we are only going to use 4 cards per player each round. So with 18 cards, that means there are going to be 2 cards in the burn pile. So we're going to shuffle those up, hand those out to the players. And then every round, there's a very simple draft. 2 cards are placed off to the side. Make sure they're not placed somewhere where someone's going to grab them by accident. Place those off to the side. And each player is going to take a look at their hand. And let's say I'm this player here, and I'm the policeman. So I want to take tricks with the policeman, which is a little bit difficult with this, because another twist in this trick-taking game, another part of the hook, is that low cards are going to win. So maybe I will keep, because I'm going to keep 1 and pass 3 to my left. We're just going to pack clockwise each time for the simplicity of the draft. But maybe I want to keep the femme fatale because I think I could win with that one. And I'm going to pass the other 3 to my left. And we're just going to take some random cards with this person, not even looking at who they are right now, so we can explain the game. They're going to pass 3 to me also. I don't love that either, but then I say, you know what? I don't want to... They passed me these 3. Maybe they kept, we'll say they kept this femme fatale also, because that was their lowest one. They pass 3 here, and then I take a look at my 4. I can pass again. I'm going to pass 2 this time, and we keep passing like that. So again, I'll keep the femme fatale because I want to try to win. And even though this is my nemesis, I'm going to end up keeping this one this time, because maybe I can pick up a couple policemen with that, because that's the second hook. So the first hook is that low cards win. Second hook is that this is a must-follow trick-taking game, except that you can always voluntarily trump with a nemesis. So if somebody led with a policeman, everybody has to play a policeman unless they want to trump with the nemesis of the policeman, which is the thief in this case. So maybe they'll keep that thief and then pass 2, and we would go like that. They would get 2 more. In this case, now they got a 1 policeman, so they'll keep that one, and they have to pass 1 more, and then they would be given their final card, which might be another femme fatale. Then whoever is willing to admit that they were the last person to steal something, will play the first trick. Otherwise, you can choose it in any manner you want. It doesn't matter. It can be random on that first hand. From there on out, what you're going to do is you're going to play tricks. And again, maybe I would want to lead with this policeman, remembering that low cards win, and this is the lowest. There's 6 of these, but remember 2 burn cards too. So low police. The only thing that's going to beat this is a lower thief. So any thief will beat this, but whatever lowest thief is played. But this player, maybe they just decide to play on suit, and this player also plays on suit. We'll see what they have. It's likely they have a policeman because they're not sure what to do yet. They're still feeling out the game, seeing what everybody is up to. And then the final person over here will play, we'll say this person will play a thief because they decide that they want to take it for some reason. Maybe that they are the thief, and so taking anything that is not their nemesis is not a negative point, so they want to go ahead and take that trick. So they'll take that trick with the thief because that's the nemesis. Otherwise, it would have been the policeman here. So they take that trick, and then they lead the next trick. Play continues like that until you've played all 4 cards in your hand. You deal again, draft again, and keep playing until the end of the game. The only other thing that you're going to do as you do that is each round you're going to keep track of who. There will be a scorecard in the final version of the game that will look similar to this card here, but you will keep track of maybe player 1 and player 2, player 3, and player 4. To pretend that we have a score pad here. So we have a score for player 1, player 2, player 3, player 4. You're going to do this at the end of each round. You're going to take any tricks that the person had and look at what characters were in there. So in this case, this person took 2 detectives, 1 femme, and 1 policeman. So they would get a score of 0, 2, 1, 1. Okay? And remember that this person was the policeman. Okay, so that's not a bad thing. They didn't get their nemesis, and they got one of their cards. And each player is going to go around and do the same thing. This player got a total of 0, 2, 0, 2. Okay, so that's interesting, right? So this person knows that they're not the policeman, but they took 2 detective cards. Okay, very interesting. This person over here took 1, 2, 3. They were able to take 3 femme cards. Okay, interesting. So and 1 thief. So they're going to go 1, 0, 3, 0. Very interesting. Usually you don't want to be too obvious with this, but that's what they did. And then finally, this person took 1, 2, 3 cops and 1 thief. Also interesting. So they're going to go 1, 0, 0, 3. Okay, so everybody seems to have a little bit of a tell. You keep going like this each round, keeping score, shuffling up, leaving a couple burn cards out, going through until you got to the end of 8 rounds where you had everyone's scores tallied up. So maybe after 8 rounds, like we get something like this where 1, another 1, so this is 3, and then another 1. So maybe actually we'll put 0 here, so that is 1, and another 1 here to make this 2. So 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2. Not great for the policeman, but not terrible. We'll talk about why and more a little bit. You go through, keep going until you have 8 rounds done. Keep adding them all up. And so maybe at the end they end up with something like this: 3, 4, 3, and 7. Probably pretty obvious who the policeman is in this case. So with this 3, 4, 3, 7. Now, here's the wrinkle in scoring. So scoring is going to be a little bit different. And then you would also reveal your identities. So in this case, we do have the policeman. We have the thief over here. We have the private detective over here, and the femme is over here. So let's just pretend we'll take another, I don't know, something random here that wouldn't be quite, it would all add up. There would be all the characters here, but this won't be quite right. But let's say this character, well, that's player 4. So we'll say they took 6 of theirs and maybe 4 of their nemesis and 4 of these and 4 of these by the end of the game. Doesn't matter what these are, just as long as we all add it up to enough cards by the end of the game. Same here. This character is the private detective. Maybe they took 5, and they only took 3 of these, and 3 of these, and 3 of these. Same thing here. We'll go down here. There's always going to be 16 cards over 8 rounds, right? So that's 80 plus 48, 128 cards. This would all add up to 128, but in any case, we would do this here and see maybe they just got a ton of these. Maybe they got like 11 of these and only 5 of these and 5 of these and 5 of these, something like that. Doesn't matter. I know this isn't right, but this is just an example. Okay, so for the policeman, what they are going to score, this is the most confusing of all. The policeman is going to score 4 points for, the policeman is going to score 2 points for each of these. So this is times 2. And then for their, they're the policeman, times 2 for each of these. So times 2. And then for each of their nemesis, they're going to score -4. So 3 times -4. 3 times -4, which is -12, right? So -12 here and only 14 here. They're not going to win this game. I guarantee that. Because 14 minus 12 is 2. And then they're going to multiply their score times 5. So 2 times 5 equals, they have a total score of 10 points. The private detective is going to get to score 5 points for every private detective. So in this case, this would be 25 points. So 5 times 5 is 25. And their nemesis is -4. In this case, 12. So -12 equals 13. And 13 times, and then they're going to get that times 3. So their score is 39. So they scored 39 points, much better than the policeman over here, because the policeman was maybe too active and people figured out who they were, so they didn't let them get what they wanted, whatever. Doesn't matter. Just an example. The Femme Fatale is going to score a similar way. So the Femme, if this was the Femme wants her cards but not the policeman, so she's going to get 6 points for all her cards. So this would be 66. And then each of the policeman cards are 5, so -25. So this is 41 times 2. So she scored 82 points. That's a fantastic score for the Femme Fatale. And then we have the Thief. The Thief has 4 points for each of her cards, so maybe she got 24 points here. And then her nemesis is the private detective. -4 times 3 is 12. So a similar score, not a great score either, equals 12 times 5. So 12 times 5 is 60, actually better than the private detective. So we have 82, 60, 39, and 10. That's how that scores in the full game, 8 rounds. So basically you want more of your cards than your nemesis. As long as you do that, this will be times 5. This one is times 5. This one is times 4. This one is times 3, but these cards are worth 4 and 3 for their nemesis. And then for the Master Thief, it's 5 and 4 for their nemesis, and then it's 6 and 5 for the Femme Fatale. And then finally, the policeman is just 2, because there's most of these, 2 and 4 for the policeman, times -2. So this is times 5 times 3 times 2 and then times 5 again. It is a weird scoring, but it's actually very, very balanced. I'll put that in the comments too. Thanks for watching how to play. The deduction game, you're just trying to figure out who everybody is. And then the hybrid game is not as long as 8 rounds, but you can either win by points or you can win by figuring out who people are. And it is a mix of the 2 versions of the game. Let me know what you think of the Franciscan Diamond. We're looking forward to sharing it with all of you. We'll have a different touch on the cards. This is just prototype cards. Obviously, they are not quite as nice as the vinyl cards will be. But this is a game by Ken Shogren. Looking forward to everybody trying it.